You probably know that there's this website called DeFi Pulse that tracks the total value locked in all the top DeFi protocols. But looking at those in the top 10, there's one that is not like the rest. While these other leading DeFi protocols are smart contracts that you, the user, can interact with, there is one unique protocol on this list that lets you become the smart contract, unlocking DeFi superpowers that are unavailable anywhere else. Of course, I'm talking about one of my favorite DeFi protocols, Instadapp. Instadapp currently has 5.6 billion US dollars worth of value locked, yet its market cap is tiny compared to the other protocols in the top 10, especially relative to its TVL. While this might be because of a smaller amount of protocol revenue sources, the Instadapp team is releasing a constant stream of new features that could add revenue sources as well as provide immense value for its users. I've never seen a protocol that innovates at the rate of Instadapp. Every time I look away for 5 seconds, they have a new killer feature being announced on Discord. In this video, I'm going to show you the core features of Instadapp and some of the amazing things that you can do with the power of a smart contract in your hands. I'm also going to cover some of the new features that Instadapp has released, which could give the protocol a huge boost in adoption and which you should definitely take advantage of. If you find this information valuable, I'd appreciate you dropping a like for the YouTube algorithm and let me know in the comments if you've heard of Instadapp before. Trying to describe what Instadapp does is like trying to describe the main use of a Swiss Army knife. At its core, Instadapp is a series of tools for DeFi that aren't available to normal user wallets on the blockchain. These tools are enabled by what Instadapp calls the DSA, or DeFi Smart Account. When you first get started on the Instadapp platform, you create your own DSA and deposit your crypto into it. This DSA is basically a smart contract that your wallet controls on the blockchain. So what is the point of this? It's worth pausing for a second and talking about the difference between a normal user wallet, like the one that you have in your MetaMask, versus a smart contract. Both user wallets and smart contracts have an address on the blockchain, but what they can actually do on the blockchain is very different. User wallets can only do one thing at a time. They can either transfer funds or they can interact with a single function on an existing smart contract. Smart contracts, on the other hand, can use code to combine many different actions into a single transaction. Let's just say you are using your normal Ethereum wallet on your MetaMask and you want to deposit 1 ETH into Aave, borrow the maximum possible USDC, trade that USDC for ETH, and then redeposit that ETH back into Aave. This would take 4 separate transactions, and if you are maximizing leverage and the price dropped before you had a chance to redeposit, you could get liquidated. Meanwhile, a smart contract could be programmed to do this entire sequence in a single transaction, saving time while also avoiding the risk of liquidation as you are setting up your position. This is just one example of the advantages that smart contracts have when interacting with DeFi protocols. When the users of Instadapp create a DSA, they get all of these advantages with their smart contract account. Because every DeFi protocol is different, Instadapp has different interactions programmed for every protocol on the platform, and they've built their system in a way so that new protocols and integrations can easily be added. Instadapp has several protocols available on each chain that they support, and they currently support Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Phantom, and Optimism. Every protocol integrated with the Instadapp platform has a tailored interface with useful information as well as ways to interact with it on the blockchain. Using the Aave dashboard as an example, we can see our total collateral, rewards earned, net APY, and what price our position would get liquidated at. This information on its own makes Instadapp really useful for managing these DeFi positions, but the real power comes from the strategies section, which are more complex interactions that you can do with the protocol. With Aave, you can do things like maximize your leverage or swap your debt or your collateral for a different asset. Playing with these strategies enables a lot of different things, like maximizing yield farming or even shorting an asset, as I've covered in some of my previous videos. So that's the core of Instadapp, and the sky is the limit in terms of the different financial positions that you can come up with using these different strategies and protocol interactions. But really, we're just getting started. Instadapp has come up with some really unique features over the course of the last few months that you should know about as a DeFi user. The first up is Interop. The standard workflow for moving an Aave position across chains can be complicated. Generally, you'd have to close a position by paying back your debt, swap the assets to a more liquid token, bridge this liquid token over to the new chain, and then build your position again from scratch. Not only is this tedious, but you are paying transaction fees with every single step. With Interop on Instadapp, you can directly move your DeFi positions to another network with zero slippage. Next up is a more recent innovation and something that Instadapp actually introduced to the DeFi world: the Flash Loan Aggregator. Flash loans are a special loan in crypto where a smart contract, including your DSA, can borrow as much money as it wants as long as it borrows and pays back the money in the same transaction. Instadapp actually uses these flash loans in their strategies, so first and foremost, this is a product that they are building for themselves. But the aggregator is open for any developer to use. When someone uses the Flash Loan Aggregator, it automatically routes their Flash Loan to the liquidity with the lowest fees. The aggregator can also combine liquidity from multiple sources, making it the deepest pool of Flash Loan liquidity available. The other great thing about this aggregator is that it's a source of revenue for the Instadapp protocol. That revenue goes into the community treasury, which can be spent by the governance DAO in order to improve or grow the protocol. Finally, it's time to talk about Instadapp's most recent feature release and probably the best way to dip your toes into using the protocol: Instadapp Lite. Instadapp Lite is a series of vaults that can execute more complex, predefined strategies. Right now, there is an ETH strategy available on Ethereum mainnet where you can earn 10% yield on your Ether. This is probably the best source of ETH yield on mainnet right now, especially when you compare it to the 0.2% yield that you'd get by depositing your ETH into Aave. By looking under the hood, we can see that this strategy uses Aave combined with Lido to leverage the returns on staked ETH. This is a position that you could do yourself using the full Instadapp feature suite, but they have pre-packaged it into a simple vault where all you need to do is deposit. Clearly, Instadapp is a protocol on the rise that has proven that they have the ability to continuously create valuable features for DeFi users. If you don't have one already, I highly recommend creating your own account on Instadapp and testing out their DeFi tooling, because it's only going to get better with time. I have some future Instadapp tutorials planned, so if you're interested in putting some of these DeFi tools to use, hit that subscribe button.